T. Rowe Price's Tony Wang. He's a portfolio manager of the firm's science and tech fund, which counts Amazon as one of its top holdings. Tony, welcome to Fast Money.
Thank you.
What's your take of Amazon's quarter, and how does it stack up to some of its AI competitors, so to speak, in large cap tech?
Yeah, well, I think it's a really interesting position that Amazon is in. If you kind of look over the long term, there's a few things that are really going well for the company. One is that they have a lot of infrastructure through regionalization. And if you look at the retail margins, I think over the multi-year, they can go up a lot higher as they essentially fill in that capacity that they built during COVID. And then I think a second one is, also their AWS cloud. I mean, it's still growing at 19%, and over the long term should be a nice compounder, especially when we look at what's going on in AI, lower cost models that can proliferate and drive more upside and sustainability. And then I think third is that you've got really nice advertising business on Prime that continues to grow nicely and then also be very margin accretive. So there's multiple drivers here. And then on top of that, you think about kind of the way that they are positioned with robotics. That's, I think, could be a new productivity boom. And, that cost to deliver, driving that down and then passing it on to the customers, is what I think is really exciting over the long term.
Hey, Tony, so Amazon's not a name that you hear like the way you do with OpenAI and ChatGPT or, some of the other competitors. When you think about Olympus and Nova, what they've been building versus their relationship with Anthropic, how do you see that playing out? Do you see them as a bit of an underdog building their own models?
Yeah, well, I think that there's a lot of different cross currents. Is do you need to own the frontier model? Do you need to build it? Do you open source it? Do you have it more closed? And, I think it's still a little bit TBD. What is the best strategy? But I kind of still come back to that. If you have, scale, if you have compute, you have AI expertise, you have the apps, I do think that is kind of a good recipe to go in here with. And, Amazon is kind of playing their own kind of, e-commerce play here that they dominate. So I kind of think about it, perhaps you don't need to own it to really benefit from it, especially you have other competitive advantages that you can drive ROI, and it's not a super competitive, contested space.
Hey, Tony, it's Karen. Thanks for being on tonight. So it sounds like you like the stock. What's your price target and sort of how do you get there among the pieces?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that long term, this one has been a really nice compounder. You look at the various businesses, it's hard to find this kind of growth at this kind of scale. And I think that, one thing is that margins continue to go up and there probably is a long-term progression there. So, I think that, we look at Science and Technology Fund, above market revenue growth, accretive margins over the multi-year, and kind of great competitive advantages that can sustain high improving returns. And I think part of what Amazon really attracts me to the story, there are multiple ways that you can win here, and they are well positioned for kind of a new productivity boom when it happens.
We're just showing your top 8 portfolio holdings, Tony, and they're the biggest cap tech stocks out there, basically, almost in order. And I'm wondering, what is your favorite pick at this point? What's your favorite stock, given we've seen most of the quarters?
Well, I think that the portfolio is, filled with, I would say, various groups of large, kind of stable compounders that are kind of the bread and butter of the portfolio. And then there's also more emerging tech players that I think can have significant outsized impact. And so we looked at having a risk-adjusted portfolio. We're not going to be, swinging for the fences every year. We look to outperform every year and capture good upside and downside. But when I look at the themes that kind of are interesting to me, I think that we are seeing AI switch to kind of the app layer. When you think about what's going on with, Palantir recently, that's been a really kind of remarkable move. And does AI kind of reshape the software landscape? That's one. And I think media and entertainment, there's really nice industry structures going on there, pretty attractive stories where margins continue to improve. And after some really intense competition, areas where Netflix and Spotify play are pretty interesting for more stable returns. So, I think that our framework is largely buying, quality companies that are improving and have a multi-year story to them.